In Japan, the average person consumes roughly 500 fewer calories per day than the average American. Yet when you sit down to a Japanese meal, you don't walk away feeling deprived. Instead, there's a deep sense of satisfaction that stays with you for hours. How do millions of people achieve this day after day without tracking calories or following restrictive diets? The answer lies in something that happens before the first bite even reaches their mouth, and it's supported by both ancient wisdom and modern science. This isn't about one single trick or superfood. It's a complete approach to eating that has evolved over centuries, one that influences not just what appears on the plate, but how people interact with their food from the moment they sit down to the moment they stand up. In this video, we'll uncover the key elements of Japanese eating style, one principle at a time, and show you how these time-tested habits can bring more satisfaction and better health into your own meals, no matter where you live. Chapter 1. The pause before eating. Before any Japanese meal, there's a ritual that might seem simple, but it sets everything in motion. It's called itadakamas. Loosely translated, itadakamas means, I humbly receive. It's spoken with hands pressed together, sometimes with a slight bow. This brief moment isn't religious in the Western sense. It's an acknowledgement of the food, the people who prepared it, and the effort that brought it to the table. What makes this significant for weight and satisfaction is what happens in your brain during this pause. When you take a moment to consciously begin a meal, you signal to your body that eating is about to start. This small act of mindfulness activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and digestion. Your body literally prepares itself to process food more efficiently. In contrast, many American meals begin with distraction. We eat while scrolling through phones, watching television, or working at our desks. Our bodies receive food, but our minds are elsewhere. Studies have shown that distracted eating can lead to consuming up to 25% more calories because the brain doesn't fully register satisfaction signals. The pause before eating creates what researchers call attentional awareness. When you pay attention to your meal from the start, you're more likely to notice feelings of fullness, appreciate flavors, and eat at a pace that allows proper digestion. This simple practice costs nothing, takes seconds, and fundamentally changes your relationship with food. It transforms eating from an automatic activity into a conscious choice. Next, how the pace of eating changes everything about satisfaction. Chapter 2. The 20-minute rule. The average American meal lasts about 11 minutes. In Japan, meals typically extend beyond 20 minutes, and that difference matters more than you might think. Your stomach has stretch receptors that detect when it's getting full, but there's a delay. It takes approximately 20 minutes for your brain to receive the signal that you've had enough to eat. If you finish your entire meal in 10 minutes, you're eating past the point of satisfaction before your body even knows it. Japanese eating style naturally extends meal duration through several mechanisms. Chopsticks slow down the rate of eating compared to forks and spoons. Each bite requires more deliberate action. Small plates and bowls mean you physically can't load up utensils with large amounts of food. Multiple small dishes mean you're constantly shifting attention between different flavors and textures, which creates natural pauses. Research from the University of Rhode Island found that people who ate slowly consumed 66 fewer calories per meal while reporting greater satisfaction. Over the course of a year, that single change could translate to losing more than 20 pounds simply by giving your body time to recognize fullness. The slower pace also improves digestion. When you eat quickly, your digestive system has to work harder to break down large amounts of food arriving all at once. Eating slowly gives your stomach acid and enzymes time to properly process nutrients, reducing bloating and discomfort. This isn't about forcing yourself to eat slowly. It's about creating conditions where slow eating happens naturally. Coming up, the visual elements that trick your brain into feeling satisfied. If you're finding these insights helpful, consider subscribing. We explore practical, science-backed habits like these every week. Chapter 3. Visual abundance. Your eyes eat before your mouth does. This isn't poetic language, it's neuroscience. Japanese meals are designed around a principle called moriawasi, which translates roughly to arrangement or variety plating. Even a simple home-cooked meal might include 5 to 7 different items arranged across multiple small dishes. A typical dinner could feature miso soup, steamed rice, grilled fish, pickled vegetables, simmered squash, and a small salad, each in its own vessel. From a caloric standpoint, this might represent less food than a single large American dinner plate. But visually, it looks like more. Your brain processes abundance based partly on variety and presentation, not just volume. Brian Wansink's research at Cornell University demonstrated that people feel more satisfied when the same amount of food is spread across multiple small plates compared to one large plate. The increased visual variety tricks the brain into perceiving more abundance. There's also the completion effect. When you finish eating from 5 small dishes, your brain registers 5 completions. You've finished 5 different things. That sense of completion triggers satisfaction signals more strongly than finishing one large portion, even if the total amount of food is identical. Japanese presentation also emphasizes empty space, called MA. The food doesn't crowd the dish. This creates a sense of elegance and intention, which heightens the eating experience and makes each element feel more special and satisfying. The lesson here is clear. Satisfaction isn't just about quantity. It's about perception, but variety is only part of the picture. Next, how individual portions change the equation. Chapter 4, the small bowl advantage. The standard American dinner plate has grown from 9 inches in the 1960s to 12 inches today. Japanese dishes have remained largely unchanged, with rice bowls holding about half a cup and side dish plates rarely exceeding 6 inches. This isn't accidental, it's protective. Research consistently shows that people eat more when given larger plates and bowls. The same portion looks smaller on a larger plate, so we unconsciously add more food to make it look right. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that people using larger bowls served themselves 31% more food without realizing it. Japanese dishware creates the opposite effect. A small rice bowl filled to the brim looks abundant and satisfying. The same amount of rice in a larger American bowl would look sparse and insufficient. The visual cue of a full bowl triggers satisfaction, regardless of the actual volume. Small dishes also create natural portion control without the feeling of restriction. You're not denying yourself food. You're simply working with appropriately sized vessels. If you want seconds, you can get them, but the act of refilling creates a pause where you can check in with your actual hunger. The bowl itself becomes a helpful boundary. It's not about willpower or restriction. It's about using physical cues to support natural satiety signals rather than override them. These visual elements work together, but there's more happening beneath the surface. Chapter 5, Texture and Temperature Variety. So far, we've covered mindful beginnings, eating pace, visual abundance, and portion control through dishware. Now let's look at sensory variety. A traditional Japanese meal includes multiple textures and temperatures within the same sitting. Hot miso soup, cold pickled vegetables, crispy tempura, soft steamed rice, chewy udon noodles, silky tofu. This variety isn't just for interest, it enhances satiety. When you eat the same texture repeatedly, your brain experiences what researchers call sensory-specific satiety. Basically, you get bored with the sensation, which makes you want to keep eating to find something more stimulating. By contrast, when each bite offers a different experience, your brain stays engaged and satisfied. You're less likely to overeat because you're getting continuous sensory novelty without needing large quantities of any single item. Temperature variation serves a similar function. Hot foods require you to slow down. You can't gulp hot miso soup the way you might chug a cold beverage. Cold foods provide contrast and refreshment. The interplay between hot and cold keeps your palate alert and prevents the monotony that leads to mindless eating. Many American meals trend toward uniformity. A sandwich is roughly the same texture and temperature throughout. A bowl of pasta delivers consistent sensory input with every forkful. There's nothing wrong with these foods, but without variety, your brain doesn't get the satisfaction signals that come from diverse sensory experiences. Japanese meal structure ensures that you're constantly moving between different sensations, which naturally creates a more complete and satisfying eating experience. Next up, the role of vegetables in creating lasting fullness. Chapter 6. Vegetables as foundation. The Japanese diet includes an average of 5 to 7 servings of vegetables per day. In America, that number hovers around 3, and many people struggle to reach even that modest target. Vegetables in Japanese cuisine aren't afterthoughts or side dishes. They're foundational elements that appear at every meal, often in multiple forms. Pickles, fresh salads, simmered dishes called namono, grilled preparations, vegetable tempura. From a satisfaction standpoint, vegetables offer something crucial: fiber. Fiber slows digestion, which means food stays in your stomach longer, creating prolonged feelings of fullness. Fiber also adds volume without adding many calories. You can eat a large plate of vegetables and feel satisfied without consuming excessive energy. Research from Pennsylvania State University found that starting a meal with a vegetable-based soup or salad led people to consume fewer total calories during the meal while still feeling satisfied. The vegetables provided early bulk that triggered fullness signals before the higher-calorie main courses arrived. Japanese meals naturally incorporate this principle. Miso soup, rich with seaweed and vegetables, often comes first. Pickled vegetables and fresh salads accompany the main dish. By the time you reach the protein in rice, you've already started to fill up on low-calorie, high-fiber foods. The vegetables aren't bland or boring either. They're seasoned with care, using ingredients like sesame, ginger, soy sauce, and miso that make them genuinely appealing. When vegetables taste good, eating them doesn't feel like a chore or a sacrifice, But it's not just what you eat, it's also what you drink during the meal. Chapter 7. Tea and Hydration. Walk into any Japanese home at mealtime and you'll likely find a pot of green tea waiting. Tea accompanies meals in Japan, the way soda or juice accompanies meals in America. And that swap matters. Green tea contains 0 calories. A can of soda contains around 150. Over the course of 3 meals a day, that difference adds up to 450 saved calories, which could translate to nearly a pound of weight loss per week. But the benefits go beyond calorie reduction. Green tea contains compounds called catechins that may support metabolism and fat oxidation. While these effects are modest, every small advantage adds up when practiced consistently over years and decades. More importantly, sipping hot tea during a meal slows you down. You can't drink it quickly. Each sip requires a pause. This naturally extends meal duration and gives your satiety signals time to catch up with your consumption. Water serves the same function, and many Japanese meals include it alongside tea. Staying hydrated during eating helps with digestion and can increase feelings of fullness. Sometimes what we interpret as lingering hunger is actually thirst. The lesson is simple. What you drink matters as much as what you eat when it comes to satisfaction and calorie control. These eating mechanics work together, but there's a deeper philosophy that ties everything together. Chapter 8. Harahachi Bu. The 80% Rule. In Okinawa, one of the world's blue zones where people live longer and healthier lives than almost anywhere else, there's a saying recited before meals, Harahachi Bu. It means eat until you're 80% full. This might sound imprecise. How do you know when you're 80% full versus 100%? The answer is that you don't need mathematical precision. The concept is about leaving the table slightly before you feel completely stuffed. In Western culture, we often eat until fullness is undeniable. We eat until our belts feel tight, until we need to unbutton our pants, until we feel lethargic and ready for a nap. That's eating to 100% capacity, and often beyond. Harahachi Bu encourages stopping when you no longer feel hungry, but before you feel full. This is the point where your body has received adequate nutrition, but your stomach hasn't been stretched to its limits. It's the sweet spot where you feel satisfied but not sluggish. Practicing this principle requires tuning in to subtle internal signals that many people have learned to ignore. It means eating slowly enough to notice when hunger fades. It means recognizing the difference between true satiety and the absence of food on your plate. The 20% difference between stopping at 80% full versus 100% can represent hundreds of calories per day. Over time, that's the difference between maintaining a healthy weight and gradually gaining excess pounds. This isn't about deprivation. It's about respecting your body's true needs rather than pushing past them out of habit or external pressure to clear your plate. Coming up, how social eating rituals reinforce these healthy habits. Chapter 9. Communal eating. In Japan, meals are often social occasions, whether it's family dinner at home or lunch with colleagues. People eat together, share dishes, and engage in conversation throughout the meal. Social eating naturally slows down consumption. When you're talking, you're not eating. When you're listening, you're pausing between bites. When you're sharing dishes from a central platter, you're taking smaller portions and waiting your turn. Research from multiple studies has shown that people who eat alone tend to consume meals more quickly and eat larger quantities. Without social interaction to create natural pauses, eating becomes a more mechanical process that's easier to rush through. Communal eating also adds an element of accountability. When others are present, we're more conscious of our eating pace and portion sizes. This isn't about judgment, it's simply that we're more mindful of our behavior in social settings. The conversation during meals shifts focus away from food as the sole point of attention. Food becomes part of a larger experience that includes connection, laughter, and sharing. This reduces the likelihood of eating becoming a purely emotional activity used to fill voids that food can't actually address. When meals are social, they're also more memorable and satisfying on multiple levels beyond just the physical sensation of fullness. These practices don't exist in isolation. They're supported by a broader cultural framework. Chapter 10. Meal Structure and Balance. Japanese meals follow a general template called ichiju-sansai, which translates to 1 soup, 3 dishes. The structure typically includes rice, soup, a main dish, and 2 side dishes. This creates automatic balance and variety. The rice provides carbohydrates for energy. The protein dish might be fish, tofu, or occasionally meat. The soup offers warmth and hydration. The side dishes bring in vegetables, fermented foods, or pickles. Each component serves a specific nutritional and sensory purpose. This structure prevents meals from becoming monotonous or nutritionally lopsided. You're getting protein, carbohydrates, fiber, vitamins, and minerals in every meal without needing to consciously calculate or track anything. The template does the work for you. Many American meals lack this built-in structure. We might eat a large bowl of pasta with minimal vegetables, or a sandwich with chips and nothing else. These meals can be satisfying in the moment, but they often lack the nutritional completeness and variety that creates lasting fullness. The Japanese structure also discourages snacking between meals. When your meals provide complete nutrition and genuine satisfaction, you're less likely to feel hungry an hour later. Your body has received what it needs, so it doesn't send out urgent signals demanding more food. This isn't rigid or inflexible. The specific foods within each category can vary infinitely based on season, region, and personal preference. But the underlying framework remains consistent, providing a reliable blueprint for balanced eating. Now let's connect these eating habits to practical daily implementation. Chapter 11 Repletion. Applying these principles in American life. You don't need to adopt an entirely Japanese diet to benefit from these principles. Small, strategic changes can make a significant difference in how satisfied you feel with fewer calories. Start with the pause. Before you eat, take 5 seconds. Put your phone face down, look at your food, take a breath. This simple ritual costs nothing and immediately brings more awareness to your meal. Use smaller dishes for at least some of your meals. You don't need to replace all your dinnerware. Simply pulling out a smaller bowl for rice or pasta creates automatic portion control without any sense of deprivation. Add variety to your plate. Instead of one large serving of a single dish, try including 2 or 3 smaller portions of different items. A piece of grilled chicken, steamed broccoli, and a small portion of rice spread across multiple vessels creates more visual abundance than the same foods piled on one large plate. Slow down intentionally. Put your fork down between bites. Chew thoroughly. Take sips of water or tea throughout your meal. Engage in conversation if you're eating with others. These small actions naturally extend meal duration and allow your body's satiety signals to catch up. Practice the 80% rule. Start noticing when hunger disappears, even if your plate isn't empty. You can always eat more later if you're truly still hungry, but often you'll find that stopping at 80% leaves you perfectly satisfied without the uncomfortable fullness that comes from eating to capacity. These aren't drastic changes that require overhauling your entire life. They're small adjustments that work with your existing habits and food preferences. Let's bring all of these elements together and see why they matter. Chapter 12. The Compound Effect. None of these individual practices creates dramatic weight loss or instant health transformation. A 5-second pause before eating won't make you thin. Using a smaller bowl won't reverse years of habits. Drinking tea instead of soda won't cure metabolic issues. But when you combine these small practices and repeat them consistently over months and years, the cumulative effect becomes powerful. Eating slowly leads to consuming fewer calories per meal. Smaller dishes provide automatic portion control. Visual variety increases satisfaction without increasing quantity. Vegetable-forward meals provide filling fiber. Mindful beginnings enhance awareness throughout the entire eating experience. These elements work together synergistically. The difference between the Japanese approach and typical American dieting is sustainability. Diets require willpower, restriction, and constant conscious effort. They work against your natural desires and eventually break down. Japanese eating style works with your psychology and biology. It creates satisfaction naturally, without feeling like sacrifice. When you feel genuinely satisfied after meals, you don't battle cravings or count down the days until you can eat normally again. This becomes your normal. It's how you eat, not how you diet. The Japanese have lower obesity rates, not because they have superior genetics or access to secret superfoods. They have a cultural framework that supports healthy eating patterns without requiring heroic daily effort. These patterns become automatic through repetition and environmental design. Now let's wrap up with the core insights. Conclusion. So why do Japanese meals feel satisfying with fewer calories? It starts before the first bite with a moment of mindfulness that prepares your body for proper digestion and awareness. It continues with eating pace that allows your brain to register fullness before you overeat. Visual abundance from multiple small dishes creates perceived plenty without actual excess. Smaller vessels provide automatic portion boundaries that don't feel restrictive. Variety in texture and temperature keeps your palate engaged and prevents the sensory boredom that leads to overeating. Vegetables provide bulk and fiber that create lasting fullness. Tea and water add 0-calorie satisfaction during meals. The cultural practice of eating to 80% full respects your body's true needs rather than pushing past them. Social eating slows consumption and adds layers of satisfaction beyond just food. Structured meal composition ensures nutritional completeness, and all of these elements compound over time to create sustainable, healthy eating patterns that don't feel like sacrifice or restriction. What makes this approach powerful is its transferability. You don't need to live in Japan or eat exclusively Japanese food. These are principles that work with any cuisine and any lifestyle. They're about how you eat, not just what you eat. A pause before eating. Slower pace, smaller dishes, visual variety, more vegetables. Tea instead of soda. Stopping before complete fullness. These aren't complicated or expensive changes. They're simple adjustments to existing habits that create better outcomes without feeling like deprivation. The hidden secret revealed in the opening of this video was this: Satisfaction comes not from how much you eat, but from how you eat. The Japanese have understood this for centuries, and now you understand it too. Which of these habits resonates most with you? Could you see yourself taking a 5-second pause before your next meal? Using a smaller bowl for portions? Adding an extra vegetable to your dinner? These small steps are how lasting change begins. If you found value in this exploration of Japanese eating wisdom, consider subscribing to this channel. We dive deep into practical health habits rooted in science and traditional wisdom every week. Leave a comment sharing which principle you're going to try first, or let us know what other aspects of Japanese lifestyle you'd like us to explore. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may your meals bring you both satisfaction and health.